What's the most heartbreaking reason you discovered behind someone's silly excuse to see you? A few years ago, my grandfather started calling me a lot more often than usual. At first, it was little things. He would call to ask if I could come over and help him change a light bulb or move a chair, the kind of things that he had always done by himself. I would go over expecting to help, but by the time I got there, the light bulb was already changed, or the chair was mysteriously fine where it was. Instead, he would sit me down, offer me tea, and we would just talk. I did not think much of it. I figured he was just getting older and maybe a little forgetful. Then one day, he called and asked if I could come over to help him sort through some old books. I had plans that night, but something in his voice made me pause. It was quiet, softer than usual. I told him I would be there soon. When I arrived, there were no books to sort. He just smiled, patted the seat next to him, and started asking me about my day. That was when it finally hit me. He did not need help. He just wanted company. I looked around his house, once always full of family, and realized how empty it had become. My grandmother had passed a few years back. My parents were busy. My siblings rarely visited. He had been making up excuses just so he would have someone to talk to. That night, as we sat there drinking beer, I told him, "You know, Grandpa, you do not have to make up a reason to see me. You can just call and say you want company." He smiled, but his eyes were sad. "I know," he said, "but people always seem to make time when they think it is important." I felt my heart break right then. From that day on, I made sure he never had to make up a reason to see me again.